So in the last video, we learned that if the sum of the squares of the two shorter sides of a triangle equals the square of the longest side, then what we have is a right triangle. In other words, if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we have a right triangle. The second part of the Pythagorean theorem is very similar. It's if it is a right triangle, then the sum of the squares of the two legs, which are the shorter sides, is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is always going to be the longest side. In other words, if it is a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We can use this information to find out missing sides of a triangle. And we will start with the case of the missing hypotenuse. Now remember, this is only if it is a right triangle. It doesn't work if it's not. The first step is you have to label all the sides. And the most important one is C. C is always going to be opposite the right angle. Look for the right angle. The side opposite that is going to be C. Okay. After you label all the sides, you can write the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Substitute the values that you know for the variables. Okay. They will be the ones on the left, a and b. Do the math on the left. In other words, square a and b and then add them together. And finally, take the square root of both sides. Okay. Let's start with just the example you have in your book. We know that c is 5, but let's see if we can prove it. For a, we're going to substitute 3. For b, we're going to substitute 4. We do the math on both sides. We get 9 plus 16, and that equals 25. Then we take the square root of both sides, because remember, whatever you do to one side, including taking the square root, you have to do the other side of an equation. So the square root of c squared equals the square root of 25. The square root of c squared is c, and that's what we want. Okay, and the square root of 25 is 5. So sure enough, c turns out in this case to be 5. Let's do another example that you can write in your notebook along with the instructions. All right. First of all, we have to label C. We look for the right angle. The side opposite that is going to be C. Okay. The other two sides we can label A and B, and it really doesn't matter. Normally we label the shorter side A and the longer side, okay, B. But that really doesn't matter. Okay, you could do it either way. You're not going to get it wrong. Right. Let's start now by writing out, since we know it's a right triangle, let's start by writing out the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Let's substitute what we know. 1 is a, 2 is b. Let's do the math. First we do the exponents, then we add. All right, 1 plus 4, okay, is 5. So c squared is 5. Finally, we're going to take the square root of both sides, and we're going to get c equals, now this is rounded because, of course, the square root of 5 is an irrational number. C is approximately 2.2. So what we've done is found the missing hypotenuse. Okay, get that into your notebook so we can practice that.